Okay, so planning your goals in 2026, the right way of doing it and the many wrong ways of doing it. I have been on the receiving end of many wrong ways of setting New Year's resolutions or targets for the year that have gotten me either absolutely nowhere or nowhere near the level that I wanted to be at the end of the year. Okay, so the first thing that is a big, big mistake in terms of setting your health, fitness, and gym goals is setting too many goals. Now, even last year, I might sound like a massive hypocrite, but I set myself around about 30 goals, both personally, professionally, health and fitness goals, 30 different ones. There were about 5 to 10 health and fitness ones, whereas this year I have one. I won't bore you too much, but it is a 1 rep max, so 1 rep on a 140 kilogram bench press. Okay. And you might think, well, what about your legs? What about the rest of it? Obviously, I'm not going to be skipping leg day. I'm not just going to do bench press every single day. So by having that one simple goal, at the moment, I'm 20 kilos off of it. Okay. Which is a long, long way. So big, long year goal. In order to do this, I need to make sure that I keep myself for the majority of the year in a calorie surplus. Now, I know with a lot of people, especially women, when you are trying to build muscle and eat more food, stay in a calorie surplus, after a few weeks even, you can second guess yourself and think, oh my God, I'm getting a little bit too fat, a little bit too soft. And then panic and go, right, I need to get myself back into a calorie deficit. And if you chop and change your goals too much or the trajectory of where you want to go, you'll end up getting nowhere, which is what I've learned the hard way. So for this year, 1 rep, 140 kilos on the bench press. If I do that, it's going to have meant I've spent the majority of the year in a calorie surplus. I'll have built muscle everywhere else because of that time spent in a surplus. I will have progressed a lot of my other lifts as a result of getting so much stronger in a bench press. Shoulders, arms, back, everything else, even legs to a certain degree. Okay, so make sure that you have not set yourself too many. So if you've got like a goal of, oh, I want to be able to get into a size 8 or a size 10, but I also want to deadlift 100 kilos. I also want to squat this much. Those goals can contradict themselves because to get into a smaller dress size, you need a calorie deficit. In order to get your lifts in the gym way heavier, you need a calorie surplus. So make sure that they line up. Okay. Now, if you've got something like journaling in your New Year's resolutions, I'm not saying journaling is a bad thing. And if you've been given something to do, like as a form of therapy, absolutely go for it. But I just feel like with things like journaling and, writing a lot of things down and spending an hour manifesting your day every morning, again, I've done these sorts of things. I've done like, as weird as it was, like positive affirmations first thing in the morning, like sat there in my dressing gown, like 5 o'clock in the morning, waking up an hour and a half before I needed to, just to get this morning routine done. And it did fuck all. And I've not really heard of many people that it's very, very much worked for. Not many at all, apart from just kind of people online, but take that with a pinch of salt anyway. So yes, you might have all these goals of, I'm going to read 10 chapters a day. I'm going to journal for an hour a day. I'm going to write all of this stuff down. I'm going to write in my diary. And it's like, yeah, that's all well and good, but are you? Year after year after year, I have clients that will message me being like, Craig, I've got these like 10 things that I'm going to do every single day. Can you add them to my habits? And I'm like, yeah, okay. 3 weeks later, they're not ticking them off. And it's just that January buzz. So what I'm going to tell you from those first 2 points is that try not to set yourself too many targets. Like you might have one that's just focused in the gym. So you might want a 100 kilo deadlift in 2026. You might want to be able to hit a pull up. Cool. Have one, maybe two of those things that you really want to do. And then like personal development, have something that you're really wanting to hit throughout the year. But just having all of these little like micro targets, I don't really think massively helps. Okay. And I know a lot of people will say have this big goal and then really break it down into small things. Yes, you should do that. But having like a goal of I'm going to journal 365 days of the year, as soon as you break that, you feel like shit and you feel like you failed. That's just my personal opinion and what I've seen from myself and plenty of clients. Okay. One or two main goals for the year, and we need to make sure that every little micro thing that we're doing is aiming towards that main goal. Like the example that I've just given a couple of minutes ago is that if you're trying to get a 100 kilo deadlift by the end of the year, but you're also trying to lose 3 dress sizes, they very much contradict each other, and your training and nutrition and your recovery needs to be absolutely on point. It's a very, very difficult goal to reach, to be able to get smaller in body size but a considerable amount stronger. So like let's take a pull-up for example. If you want to be able to do a pull-up, actually getting smaller helps with this. So if you're like at the moment, you're like a size 16, you're wanting to get down to a size 10, but having a goal of being able to do a pull-up, that's a much better goal, or being able to do 10 bodyweight push-ups. Again, because you're lifting your body weight, there's going to be less of your body weight. That's a better goal if you've got a lot of weight to lose, rather than having a goal of being able to do twice the amount of weight of a squat that what you can do now. So they can't contradict each other. If you've got big sort of performance goals and you're wanting to get a hell of a lot stronger in terms of your numbers in the gym, you can't be spending the majority of the year in a calorie deficit, because you will simply not have enough energy to be able to hit those numbers. Okay. With having not too many goals, it keeps you anchored. Okay, you're not going to drift off into doing 1,000,001 different things. You're going to, like I said, my goal, 140 kilo bench press. Everything that I do is going to be anchored to that one goal. So yes, you can have like these smaller goals, these targets that you have each and every day. Like if you're wanting to get stronger in the gym, you might want to do mobility a few times a week. If you can't get full depth on your squats as you're getting stronger, doing some hip and lower back mobility a few times a week, if not every single day, that can really help. And it's all got to anchor to that one thing. If you have a goal of getting a lot stronger, but your mate does high rocks will not get you stronger unless you're an absolute beginner and you're doing fuck all at the moment. High rocks is going to disrupt your training in the gym. It's just like, I basically call it PE for adults. I'm really not a fan if you've seen any of my Instagram, but doing strength training along with high rocks, or even along with like marathon training, people do it. They'll train 4 or 5 days a week in the gym and do marathon training and wonder why they're ill the majority of the year. It's because you're trying to do 2 main things at once. Okay. So that's it. It might seem like this video hasn't massively fired you up. It's not the idea. I'm not here to say, yeah, you should set all of these big, scary goals. There should be loads of them. There should be like this huge vision board. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you've got to stare at it and manifest your goals. Because honestly, the way that a lot of us live now, the demands that we've got in work, family, seeing your friends, being social, There's a lot of pressure on us, and I feel like people put too much pressure on themselves in terms of veering off in different directions. So, one or two main goals for the year focused on yourself, and these little habits and things that you're doing daily, weekly, whatever it is, make sure it doesn't contradict the main goal.